Aloha kako. Welcome tonight to tonight's show on Kanakanology. Tonight, our guest is Daniel Anthony. Mahalo for coming and joining us tonight, Daniel. We're so pleased to have you with us. Tonight, we really want to take the opportunity to get to know you and part of your journey. I've been following you, especially this year, the year of the mahi, and your work at influencing the policy and the way we live here in Hawaii. So yeah, we'd like to get to know a little bit about you and your background, where you came from and how you got to this point and where you're gonna go from here.
Grateful to you both to invite me here tonight.
Aloha.
You know, my been a turbulent life to say the least. You know, I was born. My mother had just turned 18, and that was actually the only time I ever walked the graduation line was with my mom as an infant baby when she got her diploma.
Oh, right on, she did it.
Graduated at birth.
What school?
You know, I'm one of those kids that was raised by the community.
Oh.
The first community was I had an auntie Elsie that pretty much between the time that my mom left me with my dad at age 1 till my dad remarried at age 2, I had an auntie that was going to steal me. She actually told my father, Vince, either take this baby and take care of him or leave him and leave him. And so I've always had an interesting relationship with the women in my life. Yeah,
Wow.
I was I'm an at-risk baby, but you know, growing up in Waianae, what happened was my dad was an opelu fisherman, and he fell in love with a taro farmer's daughter.
Wow.
And my stepmother, Gwen Poi, who raised me, her papa was the last Kuleana farmer with the Awai in Waianae Valley. And her dad was the last farmer to run the water hose and keep the taro patches flowing in the valley. And so from age 2, Halua was a presence in my life. Yeah, and when you look back, you know, they say hindsight 2020. So many times in my life when I was in challenges, when I was troubled, Halua was there for me. And there in a way of presence, holding space in my mind and in my activities and in my life. You know, I had actually dreamed to be a commercial fisherman like my father. And at 13 years old, my dad and my stepmom got a divorce. And that was real interesting because my stepmom pretty much just kind of, in a sense, abandoned me because she didn't have any rights to me. Yeah. And my dad, who had been a full-time fisherman, decided to quit fishing to raise his son. Wow. And so he actually got his first full-time job, and that was with Kaala Farms.
Wow. That's Eric Enos, yeah?
I went from my papa's taro patch in the area of Puea in Waianae Valley to the highlands of the valley for 7th and 8th grade. And it was during that time that my father was influenced by the kupuna, who were Meloli'i kupuna. Yeah, Anakala Eri, Ka'anana,
right.
Walter Paulo. And, you know, my dad already had a relationship with Kaala Farms and Opelu Project from when I was just a kid because of the nature of his work, being a fisherman. But the transition in our family to have a land-based practice that my father took a serious initiative in began when I was 13 years old. Wow. And it was simultaneous to the most cool years of my previous existence. You know, something when you just raise by the wolves, and then your father come back into your life, and he like be your dad, and he like you listen to him, and you finally, you know, you get one hair on your face, and you think you're somebody, and the system, you know, and you know, I would say I gave my dad every single gray hair on his head. I look back and I feel terrible about the things that I put him through, you know, in this is terrible kind of stuff that wasn't because I was on drugs, was because I was angry. Yeah, I was angry.
Mm.
I was super angry. I had all kind of great reasons for be angry, and
Wow.
I never had one vision. Yeah, the vision that I had was I wanted nice shoes and eat at McDonald's every day. Yeah,
Mm.
and my vision was for one. I wanted one lifted Ford truck for drive down a beach and pound my sounds, and you know, blessings that my dad had surfed my whole life, and I grew up in the ocean. You know, the son of a fisherman. I had a deep relationship with the Kai. That
Mhm.
weird. I love to bodyboard because my dad was on surfer. Like, I never liked surfers, you know, but I still was catching the same waves as this guy, you know. So one of the crash courses that I took in life, and you mentioned something, Auntie, about listening to your na'au. Yeah, and my
Mhm.
na'au has been like a loudspeaker my entire life. Yeah, the thing real. Always growing up, it told me what not to do. And the thing would say, no, do them. And I go, ha, and I do them. And that doesn't get you very far in life. Yeah. And so at the age of 14, I stole my auntie's bank card, and I figured out her passcode, and over a period of 6 months, I stole $1,500 from her.
Wow.
And when my family found out, I talking how they found out was they actually got the photos from the ATM machine, and they're like, Daniel, we got the photos, and I was like, that's not me. I never do that. They was like, brother, you wearing the same jacket and same hat. I'm like, anybody could buy that hat and jacket. Um, I mean, you know, bozo kind stuff. Ended up, my family didn't know what to do, and so you know, I'm one of those people in my life. I have great role models, but I don't always listen to them. Yeah,
Mm.
and at the time of my life, my auntie is now Senator Miley Shimabukuro. Yeah, and the
Mm.
household that I stole the money from was out of my grandfather, Dr. Fred Dodge's household. Yeah. And it's like I would kind of ruin my relationship with my family at the time. And
Oh.
they called the court system. And I went to family court and I got convicted 1 year of detention home or out of state boarding school.
Oh.
And at the time, you know, first offender, you know, so that was being lenient to them. Um, I chose, actually not I chose, my dad that I hated sold everything that he had. We actually auctioned off all his fishing stuff at Pokai Bay Beach Park. Yeah, we sold raffle tickets to my dad's pen reels and his green stick and all his lures and all his hand lines. And we went down there and we raised $25,000. And I went to boarding school. I chose boarding school in New Hampshire. I had a choice between California, Florida, and New Hampshire. And the Lolo that I was, when I would look on the map, I saw the border to Canada was only about 1 inch above where it was. I'm like, oh my God, when I get in trouble, I'll go
I don't
cross
mean
the
to
border.
laugh, but that's
No, I look back now and I laugh at myself, you know, because of the choices that I made. But I believe that my nao led me there. Yeah.
Mm.
Because what I needed to experience was the polar opposite of white and I. Yeah, and white and I is an interesting place if white and I raise you. Yeah. Usually we become you know, my analogy is that the entrepreneur, right? You get the wrong products, he sell the drugs, not the poi.
Right.
The scrappers, they pound each other, not the kalo. Yeah, and the mahi ai, yeah. When no more place for harvest. Yeah. When no more place for plant, they still harvest. But that's your car. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's your house. Yeah, and the
Yeah.
mahi and all of these things. And why am I? If you raise out there, buy out there, you gonna lead into either you an entrepreneur, you want scrapper, or you want some kind of criminal, which is all the same activities as our ancestors. Yeah. And these activities just applied in the wrong way. And I was using my energy and I was applying it all in the wrong way. So I continued to apply stupidity when I went to boarding school. But 10th grade in New Hampshire is a completely different thing when you are the darkest person in the whole damn town. A town of 500, darkest guy right here. I would experience the flip side of wine. I was like, oh my God, and pardon my language, the Caucasians are freaking ruling it over here. Right? I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So that experience, the most important part of that experience was during the time of January to March, there was an out of school project called Intercession, where you had to leave the school for 2 months and do any project that you wanted. And so my dad refused to let me come home. I was already naughty at boarding school, so they wasn't getting the rave reviews about me. And we poor. So, we're not gonna waste the air ticket for come home, go beach and do nothing and get in trouble. I was there because I was court appointed 1 year, no come home.
Right.
And so I was blessed that our Ohana had a relationship with the Old Coyote family. And these Native Americans had come and lived with us. During my 13 and 14 years, they'd actually lived in our house in Waianae, and they had seen me and their mom, Auntie Rita, kind of took me under her wing as like one of her kids.
Wow.
And the lessons that she taught, she would teach me. I still use them today. People say, Daniel, how can you be so resilient? And Auntie Rita from a young age would say, Daniel, why you get so mad when people tell you stuff? You gotta make like water off a duck's back. Yeah, and somehow that when really sit into my psychology of who I am, was able to see that hey, nature get one way for protect itself. And this part of your nature, Daniel, don't be offended when people coming after you and saying things,
Right.
So while I was in intercession, I studied for 2 months with the Native American medicine man of the Suquamish Nation tribe.
Oh, mean.
And part of my kuleana was to carve pieces, for all the people that I'd hurt. So I carved a piece for my auntie, for my grandma, for my mom, like all these people that I had. This is talking a 14-year-old, almost 15, with the medicine man, traveling with him every single day, do the sweat lodge, do the ceremony, and that when end up becoming one part of my consciousness.
Right.
That no matter where I went, the Maoli people somehow had one kindling to share knowledge with me. And so when I came home from boarding school, I was honestly still in dummy. I probably still in dummy today.
Not
Better at not doing those dumb things. I know. And a lot of it, you guys, is inner healing. Like we get so much experiences growing up. If we don't know how to digest them and poop them out, then the things stick with us. And
part of this whole era. It's this whole era, right? Like part of where we stay as a Lahui is that's part of what everybody got to go through, is dealing with the consequences of the status of the Kanakanology, the impact of all those years, all these years.
It's real, and growing up in Waianae, so my dad's dad is Dr. Fred Dodge. And my grandpa, I never did know why my grandpa was special. I just thought, hey, he's the tallest holy guy around over here. Everybody listen to him, like we go comprehensive everywhere I go. My grandpa doing something amazing, It wasn't actually until a few years ago that my auntie told me. You know, I had heard the story of how my grandpa, you know, went to war in Japan as a doctor and met my grandma, and then went back to Philadelphia to finish his medical degree, and that with a wife and 3 kids became the valedictorian of Thomas Jefferson Medical School.
Wow.
This is what I'm saying. Me, I'm around all these super smart, amazing people. I don't think the Lolo, GED, freaking grandson, no listen, hot head. And this because I never know the story of what my family went through for us be here. And I never know why my grandpa was on fighter, because he's seen the aftermath of Hiroshima and Nagasaki as a doctor. Yeah. And he would marry one Japanese woman, you know? And so
Can I see you?
I spent a couple of years of my life actually living out of the Waianae Coast Comprehensive Health Center.
Wow.
In between the time that my mom left and the story that I was told was they couldn't find my mom, and they went to where they thought she lived, and they knocked on the door and nobody came. They heard a crying baby, and my grandpa went open the door, and I was over there crying with doo-doo in my diaper, telling him, Mom. And he went look, and my mom was knocked out on the bed from alcohol and those things of the sort, you know? And he went in the fridge and never have milk, only had beer. So he told my mom at 1 that he was going to take her son. And that was actually the last moment I ever did live with my real mom. Now, my real mom, she's the youngest daughter of Jim Anthony. Yeah, and my grandpa Jim, he's a revolutionary. You know, he is a man of precise words and even more precise action. Yeah, but because of the way that my mom and him had a relationship or lack thereof, I never grew up with my grandpa in my life. Yeah, I actually, and we can talk about it later on in the story, but I actually have spent more time getting to know my grandpa in the last 3 years than in the past 40 years of my life. It's been beautiful, you know, for understand why a little bit in me is certain ways is these was gifts from my ancestors.
Right. You see the DNA, the power of DNA. Yeah, it's there.
Hey, you guys know Uncle Tom in Hilo, Uncle Tom Anthony. So that's my mom's older brother.
Okay.
That's that Uncle Tom, Auntie Helen, and then my mom. So if you know Uncle Tom, you know a little bit that our family we can focus on something. It's like we get like one special focus, you know, unbreakable freaking magnetic force that compels us through the universe that we live in, you know?
Right.
So growing up in the comprehensive with my grandpa, what I saw firsthand was what happens to the Kanaka under the processed food system. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember actually making relationships with aunties and uncles that I saw every single week at the hospital, at the doctor's office. And you know, my grandpa, he loved them, but he tell them the same thing every week. You know, stop smoking cigarettes, gotta exercise, and gotta change your diet.
No more spam.
But you know, they'd be in the waiting room with the spam. You know, and on the other side, yeah, I started going home when my dad got remarried to Gwen Poi when I was 2. I started going home to the household of the Hawaiian farmers. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And because of the water, Papa, he used the water hose for the taro patch. So the corn no good. We went from farming lehua to farming bonlong when the awai went to the water hose. And we started harvesting only for leaf. So, you know, one of the things that in my recent, this is only in the last couple of months, this has been affecting me, yeah, is like, who was your first kupuna to buy poi? Because I seen them. Right. I seen my farming papa be the first generation of at least 800 years of hammers of Waianae to buy poi.
Wow.
And I remember
chicken skin. It's so true.
Kutu lady ate poi every single day. She always had her bowl poi. And when came dinner time, hey, they cook rice for the kids. Yeah, because boy, expensive. And I got to be a part of the first generation. Yeah, to not have access to the family umeke.
Wow.
And I believe a part of it was they was trying to change our ono so that we could survive. Because boy, why I gonna let you get all in love with this mahi that then you no can afford, and we no can grow over here. And so, yeah, Tutu Lady was a Manaleo, born and raised in Lu'ulu'ule. Yeah, I'm grateful to say that before she died, I was able to olalo with my Tutu Lady.
Wow.
And she would laugh at me. She said, ha 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 ha. And I don't know if she was proud or surprised. Like, why are you learning Hawaiian? Go learn Japanese, boy. So I went back to Waianae High School after boarding school, and 11th grade, and I had enough credits that I only needed 2 classes because boarding school was 10 hours a day, 7 days a week. Boarding school is mental. Okay, everything, like a little bit less than military academy, but these Quakers was on the order. And it was freezing. Like you had no place for go. Not like you could run into the forest and hide out. Like, bro, you die. And so I kind of began at age 15. I started actually working. I started working at Domino's Pizza, and I had to pay my auntie back. Yeah,
Right.
Which I did at 30% interest.
Oh.
Oh, my auntie and crank on me.
Yeah.
Good investment. Let the boy take the card. You go make 30 points, auntie. I'll be honest. I within that year, my relationship with my dad was so terrible, and my dad actually took me to a special person, a special auntie. One of the last memories I have of living with my dad during this turbulent time, he took me to this seer, Auntie Leandra Rodriguez, when I was 16 years old. Yeah. And Auntie Leandra went to her place in Makua. Yeah. A place that I grew up being a part of. And at 16 years old, Auntie went to talk to me. And at the end of the conversation, my dad and I went for a walk down the beach. And my dad said, boy, you need to move home. You need to do what I say, when I say, or I give you 24 hours and I report you as a runaway. And you're in charge of your own life from then. And like the dummy, I took the 24 hours.
You're like, 24 hours.
16 years old, and like the smart kid I was, I ran to Hilo, where I had family, right? Like get the Anthonys over there, and
Right.
Pretty much
Cruising with Chewy guys.
pretty much was rotten. Yeah, I'm the oldest male of that generation. I'm a little bit older than Chewy, and I didn't listen to my na'au. I ended up getting to a point where I was gonna actually commit suicide.
Oh.
And I don't blame Uncle Tom, but Uncle Tom one day asked me one morning, he goes, Daniel, how do you rate yourself from a scale of 1 to 10? And I was dealing with so much shit inside of me that I was like, I ran out of the house, I ran into the bushes, I had him camp in the bushes way in the back of King's Landing, and I had him gone and put him in my mouth. I was like, brother, if you cannot think of one thing, one reason for live, then bro, no sense live.
Wow.
Yeah, and the worst part was I couldn't even think of one reason. And it had zero value. But the thing that would save me was my grandma. Because I'm the oldest grandson of the oldest son, and my grandma full Japanese. Yeah. And when you're the oldest grandson from the oldest son of the full Japanese grandma, you special.
You Ichiban.
Yeah. And I wouldn't actually break down imagining someone telling my grandma that her grandson would commit suicide.
That's what saved you.
you know.
Mm.
And literally that moment in my life, I went push off the bottom.
Mhm.
Wow. Wow.
And
Mm.
yeah, I came back right after that. um my dad tracked me down after I turned 18, and he wanted me to come home for his birthday, and I actually began to rebuild my relationship with my father, which today is an amazing relationship.
See.
Wow.
My relationship with my auntie Miley is an awesome relationship. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we've turned all
Mm.
of those toxic relationships around through.
The carvings and work.
Oh no, let me tell you. I remember
Eventually.
I made it 26 years old. At 26, when something went missing at my dad or my grandpa's or somebody's house, they stopped accusing me.
Yeah.
But I
Mm-hmm.
had to go like 7 years of you know, of really living the me that I was starting to supposed to live.
Mm.
Um, and I don't know what it is, but you know, I went to college. I came back and my grandpa said, you know, Dr. Dai said, grandson, I'll pay for you to go to community college. So grandpa
Mm.
will pay for me to go community college, and I wouldn't take in high school. I never take Olala Hawaii,
Mm.
but I went. That was me dingy Kalamai. I went. I was in. I got kicked out of one English class, and the English class I went to, it was Kumu Linda Galano. And the next class that she taught, this Kumu was so crazy. Linda Galano, she would teach Hawaiian, she would teach English, and she would teach Spanish. Okay, I went to high school and we'd be in class in English. She started talking Hawaiian. We'd be like, oh, we don't know what you're saying. So I would end up hanging out with the Hawaiian language kids during recess. And as a freshman, I was the only one not in the Hawaiian language program at YNI that went to Kaho'olawe.
Wow.
Somehow and snaggle my way for go holo holo. Well, when I went college, well, I made one point. I was going to learn, you know, ho'oma'a i ka'olelo Hawaii and make it something that was important. You know, I saw the relevance. Um, and my first official kumu in the university system, yeah, was Ikela Kaneopio Crozier.
Mm.
And you know, be consistent with the rest of my life. I was a terrible student. At the end of the semester, she's like, Daniel, you're so awesome, but you don't fail my class. You don't do the homework. Call my kumu. I was too busy surfing. Um, she gave me a book. She gave me a book to read, and it was the Queen story.
Mm.
And at 18 years old, I read the words of Lili'u. And you know, this is some 24 years ago for me because I'm gonna be 43 in April. You know, I'm kind of getting definitely a Makua status at this point in my life. But that story helped me to recognize why I was so angry.
Wow.
Yeah. And what,
Yeah.
you know, I'm one of those interesting guys that neither of my parents are Hawaiian, but I grew up in a Hawaiian household and they would instill some freaking anger in me.
Mm.
You know, my environment was an environment where somebody when came and would take our water. Yeah, and when force us to eat rice. And my papa, he was a good American. He went to work every single day, union, pension, the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Never make his family strong. Yeah.
Right.
And I would inherit the frustration. And when I read that book, I knew why. And one of the things that Ikela had said after that was the fact that Hawaii had this official language status for Olala Hawaii, yet it was the only place that you couldn't use it. And so at 18 years old, I purposely began to engage the judicial system using Olelo Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually, over the next 7 years, developed to be able to speak because I had to go court to fight for my right.
Mm-hmm.
And since 18 years old. And, you know, I encourage anybody who wants to, you know, fact check any of this, you know, you can go to ecourt.kokua. Okay? Yeah, and you go look up Daniel K. Anthony and you go find from 18 years old on. I have steadily always had a bench warrant. Yeah. I'm one of those guys that I get the speeding ticket for go scrap them in court, Makolelo, Hawaii. Yeah. And through the 24 years that I've been battling the court system in this, I have recognized that since 1978, the state of Hawaii has been operating under the guise of Hawaiian proficiency. Yeah. That up until it became an official language. Yeah. Hawaii as a state, as a government, was the only government in the union that was operating every day in a foreign language.
Right.
Yeah. Now, I'm born in 1978. I'm the first generation, yeah, to be born with these rights under this constitution. And in this place, they're going to call them America. We got to follow by the rules. Then you got to follow by the rules too. Yeah.
You're right.
And that'd be
what
nice.
I saw was that when I went to the office, the administration of the judicial system, yeah, that was all Japanese. But because of how I look, they couldn't see my Japanese in me, so they would treat me like one brownie. You know, and through my years of experiencing this, you know, I've been arrested multiple times. Every time I tell them, Brown, once you arrest me, I'm going to refuse to speak English. I've been at Queens Hospital for 10 hours because they cannot find one translator. Nobody in Queens, Olelo, Hawaii, and they don't like release me. The cops don't like take me away from Queens because my face was all bust. Queens Hospital make me sit on the ground for 5 hours. Then when they found the interpreter, they make me sit in a chair like nothing was wrong. Then I go to the jail, and believe it or not, they found the makai that could Olelo Hawaii. Yeah, and every single time I've engaged, actually only the last time was I ridiculed by the police officers for Olelo.
Wow.
But all the rest of the time, they actually found one officer, and the Olelo was on Pili, Kekahi. Yeah, like they knew my kumu, I knew their kumu, maybe I knew them. But I realized through this process, that's the same tactics that the Caucasians use, Meka Olelo Haole. Yeah, they know each other, so they back each other up. This is why the Olelo is so important and so powerful, because it is a presence in their system, a continual presence that they mismanage, misuse, misabuse. Yeah. And I don't know, at some point I gotta organize all my dealings in my life, but I think we gotta sue the state of Hawaii. And
sounds like it.
Las Vegas, I can go afford some attorneys. You know, when I ran for OHA, one of my platforms for OHA was I was going to build the department of the angry Hawaiian attorneys. I figure we take 30 of like the angriest Hawaiian attorneys, shove them in one room, and just give one hotline number. And if you're in Kanaka and somebody do anything for you, you just call this line of attorneys and we just sue them. And after about 2 or 3 years of that, nobody would mess with Hawaiians. They'd be like, whoa, gangy here.
Yes, that's genius.
Stop this construction because the Hawaiians are going to sue us here, right? They know. 24 years I've been getting discriminated by the state of Hawaii. Boom, no lawsuit. If that was a Caucasian person, they would have sued them already and won. And Olelo Hawaii judges would be now forced to, you know. To me, what I believe is that if we're supposed to be judged by our peers, then the court system should operate Makolelo Hawaii as fluently as it operates Makolelo Haole. Yeah, and just like the kuleana of the kupunas to have both. Yeah, it's not either or. I don't speak English or Hawaiian. Yeah, my entire life growing up has been a combination of English and Hawaiian. And if you only can understand the English, then you go miss out on about 45% of what I have to say. And therefore, you cannot neither judge me, yeah, or jury me because we're not peers. And you're not there to judge me. You're not capable of judging me. You know, the question that I ask every single judge is, Hiki ya oe e olelo Hawaii? And when they tell me no, I say, how can you dispel justice in a
Mhm.
land where you do not speak the judicial language?
Mhm.
Yeah, the whole beginning of the Hawaii statues is all in English and Hawaiian. Yeah, all the way until like the 1920s, they were using English and Hawaiian. Somehow it became an economical push and a stamp out. Yeah, it took them 20 years from 1898 where they went ban them. Took them 20 something years for squeeze them out of the system, for
To
bringing
the
all
kula.
friends, for ho'o hila you from, ho'o mana ko'olelo. Yeah, they did just slowly over time squeeze them out of you.
Yeah, because you figure that's from the ones that was from kindergarten all the way to and graduate that was forbidden. Yeah, so one whole
Exactly.
cycle,
One
and by
whole
the end of the
cycle.
cycle, oh, I never know that.
So,
Mm.
I took their strategy. Yeah, I never have much strength for squeeze hard, but I gave them my best squeeze, and I still squeezing them. Yeah. And when my babies was born, they all went punana leo. Yeah, they all in immersion. Why? Because they're supposed to be better than me. Yeah. But the thing that they don't teach them is the beef, is the why. They teach them how for Olelo Hawaii, but they sound like howlers. The things that they're talking about.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, me, I used to always go punana leo and beef about they like teaching my kids Jesus songs. And I said, you jamming out my hedonism. Jesus, I said these kids so they can go freaking interpret the Lona, and you teaching them to put their head down. Baby, open your eye when you pull it. Yeah, who you calling to? Call to your ancestors. No worry. You holy too. Jesus, one of your ancestors. Yeah, call them all. And so we talk about certain keys in life. So, during my battle, what would happen was I would quit college after 2 semesters because I wanted for battle. Yeah, I was going to battle this Hawaii state, this inequality, but I realized we need money if we're going to battle. So I took one sales job at one stone company, and I began slanging stone for developers, rich houses, this and that, all kind.
Right.
And I did that until I was 28 years old, just about 10 years. And during that time period, I supplied stone to projects, Auntie, that I would protest. Sunday, I protest Hokulia. Monday, supply the material. Okay. You know, all of these different places was like Daniel, whose side you on? I seen you over here in your Aloha shirt, freaking Friday, and you're over here making like all cool. And I was like, I don't know. You know, it's like everybody get that excuse, like, oh, I gotta make money. Yeah. But me, my purpose of making money was I was gonna fund the movement. Yeah, that was why I got into this high sales. But the problem that would happen is I started working full time and I got good at it and it got dialed in. And then I forgot why I was working and I just started working. And one of my brothers actually that I lost track of, brother E. Brother E, I ran into him. He live out King's Landing now, but I ran into him
I know
um,
that guy.
when I was uh, about 25, 26. I ran back into him. We wouldn't grow up in the same house. He would live with me in Waianae. We one of the peoples I love so much in my life, and he would break my cycle of work. He broke my cycle of work. He would invite me to go drink ava at Halinoa's and come listen to music at St. Louis with uh, uh with all of the folks up there that would do these Wednesday night music and I don't know, it's like, when you fight destiny, yeah, like you fight yourself, yeah. And it was like, if I was just supposed to be some successful guy, build a nice house, live on a hill, just be full 100% USA okay, like that was my chance. I should have just stuck with that path, and just been ignorant. You know, and my job, I tell myself now, I look back at my job was to fly around the world and find the most sacred mountains and cut them up and bring them to Hawaii to put on the floors and countertops of the people whose homes that I would never ever be afford to ever walk in and look in again. Yeah. And
Mhm.
had Mauna Kea occurred and that was still my job, I would feel so stupid. Yeah. Because I doing the exact same thing. Yeah. Mauna
Dirty
Kea
money.
did
Dirty money, yeah.
the luxury home industry in Kona. Yeah, that's where all the million and the billionaires build their house where they can go hang out at the telescope after. Yeah. So at 26, I had some stuff going on at my work, and I actually went try to quit my job. And at 26, um, I I quit my job and I went to go volunteer at Mao Farms because I'm from Waianae, and I end up hooking up with my childhood friend Solomon Enos. And I was like,
Who?
oh my God, this guy's a major artist. He's getting no love. I get all this architectural and design background. We're gonna go. And then I went with my grandfather, Fred Dodge. This is right after I quit my job. First thing I do, paddle backside Molokai with my grandpa. Spend 2 weeks around,
Wow.
Wow.
you know. And my grandpa, hey, even though he's Caucasian, he was the backup doctor for Kalau Papa.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So when the guy would go on vacation, my grandpa would go Kalau Papa. And there was patients that had family in Waianae that was connected to Kalau
Right.
Papa. So when they came home, they would go see my grandpa. So we go stay Kalau Papa. We went go stay with Auntie Puna. And in that time period, yeah, you know, when you're on the kai, when you're doing these things, when you with your kupuna and you experiencing um life, when you have questions, what am I supposed to do? So I came back and I actually started working with Solomon Enos. I started representing him. Just so happens that my stone job was so complex and I was so badass in it that they brought me back on as a part-time employee to deal with these super rich clients that I'd been super good at corralling and getting money on. And I spent the next 2 years introducing these rich people to Native Hawaiian art.
Oh.
I actually was there with Vicky Holt Takamini, helped do the very first Maoli Arts Month. Actually built
Okay.
the very first, the two Maoli artist catalogs that are out there. I had the pleasure of building both of those catalogs and influencing that.
Wow.
To me, the art, I wouldn't see how the art was one ability for our people to create resources and awareness and inspiration. Yeah.
Mhm.
And you wouldn't believe it, but my first project I ever did with Solomon was the story of Haloa with Kamehameha Schools.
Mm.
Is that where you reconnected with Haloa?
Well, you know, Auntie, so from 12 years old on, I always been pounding tarot. I've been cooking. There's something that I never even think that was a practice. Like you just when you eat boy, you go do them.
That's regular.
And all my Bella Pietra working the stone days, all of those, yeah, I cook you the whole time, Auntie. I've been since
Wow.
14. I've been the primary poi maker in my family. Yeah,
Mm.
and you know,
Oh my
really,
God.
really, my connection is based on a relationship with Halwa,
Mhm.
not one direct education from one kupuna. I had to figure stuff out. But I grew up in a household that had boards and stones and kalo. Yeah, and I had access to these things. And that's why I'm so passionate and I believe so much that that's one of the my projects of my life. We've got to fight for have access for these things, you know?
Mhm.
Right.
Um
Mhm.
so yeah, I actually so how the kui ties into the art is we actually started to kui at art events. And the
Wow.
kani of the papa and the pohaku and the eye
Right.
would
Right.
slice the world apart. The guys that was painting dolphins with rainbows was completely separated from the Maoli artists. Yeah, when the
Mm.
living activity was there, and then had the picture of Solomon's guy making poi. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so in 2008, the art market crashed,
Right.
and basically I couldn't survive as an artist rep. And so in 2009, I wasn't working at Bella Pietra already, and had parted ways with Solomon and the artist movement because of the economy collapse. And for some other reasons, you know, I'm not a real contract guy, and I never have contract with all the artists, and somebody else came and got on contract with them when they all became popular, you know.
Mm.
I'm not gonna say from my work, but I was definitely, you go talk to those guys during those years, I was a serious force in the Maoli art world.
Mm.
In 2009, I went to Papaku Makavalu.
Mm.
Yeah, and it was the practitioner one with my ex-wife, and I was like, I don't even know why I'm here. I know I'm a practitioner. And I went to the thing, and I was like, oh my God, I'm a practitioner. And you know, because to me, I'm like a bit older than the first Punana little kids, like Hulila Wilson. There's all my friends, you know what I'm saying? I get all these friends that there was like the first generation of Nakiki Walalo Hawaii. But I was older, so I'm kind of in that left out guinea pig generation. I was like, dang, these kids need something. But you know, they had a little bit gap between
Like,
right? And so at that workshop, at the end of the workshop, Auntie Pua went around the room, and one of the things that she said was that, you know, a practitioner is constantly challenge themselves in their practice. And so she asked me what I was going to challenge myself in, and I said I was going to pound 10,000 pounds of kalo in 2009. And I'm one of those guys. I motivate people and inspire people in interesting ways, and people motivate and inspire me in interesting ways. And this room was full of the hammers of the Hawaiian Pantheon. The living gods was in this room, and some of them went laugh when I said I was going to eat 10,000 pounds. And that little bit of laughter was why my pot was on fire at 5 o'clock every single morning. You know what I'm saying? And I wake up. And in 2009, what I really got was my practice was developed over ku'ing 10,000 pounds. Yeah.
oh
Like,
yeah.
you go from 12 years old to 28 years old. But in 1 year, I did what I had surpassed my whole previous lifetime was just gone.
Right.
You know, and every week I knew something that I never know the week before, and I was laughing at the dummy from the week before. And this happened for 52 weeks. Still happening, actually. I laugh at the dummy from the week before, you know, because of how much capacity we have to learn through the experiences that we have. And when you wake up and you ku'i every single day, 50 pounds of kalo, only take you to September to pound 10,000 pounds.
Wow.
And in October, we started a business. And in November, I was in the newspaper because I was pounding at the farmer's market. And 2 weeks later, the Department of Health came and tried to shut me down.
Oh, that's right. Legalize the pot. Yeah, that was you.
That controversy when just sprout out of it. Uncle Daniel I was just doing my thing, trying to feed my community and my family, something that I knew was right, something that I would consciously spend the effort and the time to develop a deep, meaningful relationship with Haloa through practice of ku'i and ai, and you know, really gave my hands to Haloa and resurrected the umeke kumau in my life. You know, took it from a place of eating poi to of consuming the practices where the result means that you have a full umeke to eat. Yeah, eating poi not enough. The consciousness, it's the practices. It's knowing who you support when you eat your poi. When you eat your poi, if you no can see the farmer, you're buying the wrong brand. Yeah, if you no can visualize that mahi ai, then I'm not going to say it was bad in the way you got them, but I'm going to say that's the problem. Right? Yeah, is that the mahi ais and the guys eating them are disconnected. And that's what ku'i ai re-established. Yeah, because you cannot go make 10,000 pounds in 1 day. Yeah, you need 100 guys for all go make the 10 pounds.
Right.
And so you know that relationship that you get to build it by feeding your community is what started in 2009.
Right, because he had to make that 50 pounds a day. So it was kind
right?
spooky, 50 pounds a day.
In 2010, well, I'm gonna tell you, no laugh. In 2009, I bought all that taro. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I supported taro farmers in this, and that is why, you know, for me, we gotta go backwards in this. Yeah, what I found, if you start by giving them the huli die. Yeah, but you give them the pa'i, they eat them. Yeah, like high 90s, 95% eat them. And then if you show them how to kui, the guys that love to kui, then you show them how to make the board in their stone. Then by the time they make the board in their stone, you give them the huli. Now the taro come me. Sometimes still take 3 to 5 years. You know, you gotta have that relationship with a mahi that's doing them. Everybody like go do them themselves, but this one lahu thing. And we're at the age of the mahi, and you know, right now in my life, one of the things that I'm so blessed as I work with a gentleman by the name of Kawe Nahoe. And you know, I pray that I'm wrong. I pray that this changes, but I believe that my partner is the only taro farmer, full-time taro farmer on Oahu that lives on Hawaiian homestead.
Wow.
Oh,
And
Wow.
it's heavy.
you know what the trip is? Even though people like Kahlo and buy the t-shirt, they don't really respect, appreciate, understand what is an indigenous farmer. They don't know how to recognize an indigenous farmer, and they don't know how to support an indigenous farmer. And you know, everybody look haloa, but they forget that haloa is a symbiotic relationship. Yeah, haloa ke kalo, haloa ke kanaka. The existence without each other is not existence. Yeah, because the kalo no live. You know, can just go fly your huli in your yard and come back and then eat kalo.
No.
Yeah, it's one relationship. And so, you know, after we legalize pa'i, what we doing now? Yeah. And what I saw with the legalized pa'i is we got to show up to the Capitol every year on opening day. Yeah, and we got to be front and center every single year on the first day. That's the first part of the Konani move. Yeah. First move and last move. Yeah. And we've been consistent. This was the 11th year.
Wow.
Last year we made 2 huge emus at Iolani Palace. The year before that, we made 1 huge emu at Iolani Palace. Like, we understand the political nature of our lifestyle. Yeah. And the fact that we're alive and we're doing them is all the legal bounds that we need to continue doing them. Yeah, that our existence and our lifestyle and our practices tie us to this land, to this lepo. That is the absolute. And with Akua, you know, that is how we malama our Akua. It's true malama da aina, right? It's true malama da people. But it's a hard thing for do. The kalo would help understand, yeah, the relationship with the kui would help understand how to ku'e. Yeah, because the reality is if you ku'e without the kui, then you're not weak. Yeah, if you're not being fueled in your ku'e by your kupuna haloa nakalao kapalili, then you're being fueled on something else. And it's not the EO of our ancestors. Yeah. And so it's a chronology of where we go. We're at the point where we're making boards and stones. You know, I didn't predict this, but the last time this many boards and stones was made, there was a great battle. Yeah, because this is how our people prepared to go to battle. Yeah. Yeah, but it was having the capacity to make our own food. Am I projecting a battle? No, I'm projecting that we need to be able to hold the essence of ku'e, that our lifestyle, the way that we live, yeah, is our daily living protest. Yeah, the fact that my meal every day is crushed with a pohaku that for thousands of years rested on the sands of the shores to be transformed, to which that pohaku now stands to feed my family. And the relationship between the pohaku, between the kalo, between the lepo, the mahi, the ohana, and the kaiaulu is in jeopardy when the farmers are marginalized. Yeah, so now in this year of the mahi, it's really to unmarginalize our farmers. It's really to help my partner. People recognize how badass this brother is, what on Hama his family is, what they do as an ohana. What are ohana? We have 2 ohanas right now. We're in a 2 ohana mode, and we are so consistent that we're holding down 5 ainas.
Wow.
We own no aina. We called to these different ainas through people that on the aina not using them. And you know, I'm not gonna lie, get people not from here that have greater financial capabilities for acquire aina than we do, and that needs to end. Yeah. If my partner is the only full-time taro farmer living on Hawaiian homestead, then we need every single other Hawaiian living on Hawaiian homestead to break off 0.5% of whatever they got and give it to this brother so he can help make 1 more full-time Native Hawaiian living on Hawaiian homestead. You know, and we can build a trajectory of a lahui of mahi ai. You know, because everybody said no more farmers. No, there's no entryways to become a farmer.
Right.
If your family no more land and water, how are you gonna be a taro farmer?
Then what? Right.
You know, and the reality is, all the families that had the land and water, they got them stolen.
They was evicted. Yeah. Stolen.
You know, I know we get a few minutes, but I just like to share a little bit about the babies. You know, 28, I had my first daughter. I named her after a sacred place in Makua Valley called Ko'iahi. And Ko'iahi was a place that the Akua would frolic, where it had the prize Maile Lauli'i of Oahu and Iliahi. And today, that place has the most unexploded ordinances in the entire valley. Yeah. My babies, they rough beat my kids, because the kuleana that we bear upon you from birth is one of a lifetime of battling. Yeah, and these babies, they bless to have been interned into that lepo, into that aina. My kids is in that aina, if you know what I'm saying. They in there. We put them in there. Yeah. That all my children have the pleasure and the kuleana to grow up knowing who they come from. Yeah. Yeah, all my babies Hawaiians, but they come from the line of the super lucky Haoles that somehow made it to Hawaii, and the freaking man-eating Fijians that somehow made it to Hawaii. You know, and now inside them is more facets of our future solution. But you know, it's not our future as Kanaka is not pounding taro, it's not farming taro, it's not fishing, it's not hunting. It is all of it. It is all of it. It is to be faceted like a prize gem and have every side polished and shiny, and the capabilities within the families to do everything and anything. You know, that's where we're going. That's where we gotta go. And it's about ultimately listening to your na'au, malamain your akua, malamain your aina, malamain ke kahi I ke kahi. And it's so hard and confusing to do that because, you know, when the bear injured, when the bear get the thorn in the pond, and you can be the one go over there pull them out. Yeah, our people, they're hurting, and not often do we want to take the responsibility to inspire them to heal themselves. Yeah, because often in our community, those are the position. Everybody likes scrap. Yeah, everybody change. We talk about what happened 128 years ago, but then we refuse to change from what happened 20 years ago.
Right.
You know, and we further did assimilation because of our refusal to simply live. You know, I'll be straight, aunties. I got no 401k. My retirement is inspiration. Yeah. One of the kids, the hundreds, the thousands of kids that have come through Ku'i at the Capitol, one of them gonna be the next Bill Gates. They're gonna be, uncle, don't worry. I get a little ahupua, I'm gonna talk to you when you come all ele makule. Yeah. My plan is to farm kalo for the rest of my life. My plan is to understand that the generation that we are today, just like the generation of yesterday, is the make it or break it generation. If we stop growing the taro, not gonna have huli. Yeah, if we stop living the life, not gonna have the life. If we fail to light the fires of the emus, not gonna have emu. Yeah, if we fail to build the walls, the ahus, the heiau, not gonna have them. That it's not as much about what our ancestors did. It is as much about what they inspire us to do.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it goes back to listening to you now. Sometimes drawing the line in the sand and holding your ground. When you know in your na'au, you're supposed to be doing what you're doing. And it's not easy. It's challenging. You know, my first marriage when fall apart because we was too ku'e was hard. And you know, in the age of getting older, I just know that it's not how much you do in one day. It's not how much you do in 1 month. It's not how much you do in 1 year. It's how many years are you consistent. Yeah, it's how many decades. Yeah, all the guys that made movements when last decades, they was connected to unseeable powers. They was connected to like magnets, and they did them consistently. I look at all the Anakes and Anakalas that I have so much admiration and aloha for, and these are the people that never did stop.
Right.
Yeah, and the people that never did stop was the ones that would hold the space for the guys' families that went stop or start. Yeah.
Right.
So just because your family went stop, no mean you lost. Yeah. And just because somebody else do them, no mean they're doing them against you. They're doing them for you. Yeah. And like Mauna Kea, people never understand why they're so battling and so passionate for the Mauna. But these are the very ones that we went trained for listen to the Aina. Now we mad that they're listening. So, you know, I just, Auntie, I'm living my story, Auntie. We're only in the halfway chapter. I'm only 42. I guarantee you, I'll be around for another 40 something years, Auntie. And you know, I've been blessed to take that path, you know, take that path that maybe at the time wasn't one sure path. So people never like take them. Yeah. And maybe I somehow and do that even when everybody was laughing at me, you know, but I know now today that I'm living, and I see it when I see my children. You know, my daughter, she's 14. I'm not battling her. You know, I have broken the cycle in one generation. Yeah.
Wow.
Because what I came to the conclusion, Auntie, is that once you do them, your kids don't even know that you used to not do them. Yeah. I get babies that they're younger than the umeke on the table. Their entire life had one bowl of poi, always with poi, 360, their entire life, you know? And
Wow. Wow.
I know that the last generation had people in their lives that had the umeke food their entire life. So for those that don't have the umeke, this is the year for resurrect your umeke. This is the year to connect with a mahi and support a Hawaiian taro farmer. Support a true Kanaka Oiwi getting back down into the lepo. Because I'm going to tell you, every island right now, I could tell you a mean story about when Hama Hawaiian struggling at this very moment because he chooses to mahi kalo, not to go work in the system.
Wow.
And if all the guys that work in the system was for just invest in that mahi ai, the farmer would become one warrior. Yeah.
Right. You're not
Yeah.
gonna struggle anymore.
Not gonna struggle. Yeah. And I feel like the
Right.
farmer is the ikahi. Yeah. Farmer first. Yeah. You can
Mhm.
scrap after the lure, but you gotta have me eye, and you
Yeah.
gotta know why you fighting. The connection to the land is when you put them in your
Mhm.
mouth.
Aina.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You fulfill its destiny by simply consuming it, because it was the Ieve of our kupuna that was
Right.
planted. It is their EV that is in there to what? To give us the strength to live, to fight for all the things that are right and pono, to
Mhm.
withstand all the trials and tribulations as we have done, despite
Mhm.
120 something years of occupation. Still here, still making Hawaiian babies, making them crazier than ever, you know? And it might not be the multitude of before, but we have this tool. If you guys didn't know this, it's called the internet. It's pretty amazing. And it connects
Super.
people all around the world at the same moment. We get to be in two spaces at one time.
Right?
With
Mhm.
this tool of mass inspiration, you know, it's not about the lahui as in Hawaii. It's about the lahui honua.
Right.
Yeah. And it's about guiding the honua through how we live. Because
Mhm.
we really are going to either see the honua, or the other option is we gotta just change them. Yeah, and that's it. We go with the flow, or we become the flow, which means we gotta reverse the flow.
Right. That's right. Super cherry, Rob. Yeah, plenty ike. It's really inspiring too to hear these words. You know, it's so relevant, and I really think, you know, to go. Everybody just gotta go find their mahi. Get one, and get enough customers just on that real local to each other, knowing your mahi and going there and resurrecting the umeke.
That's my dream.
Pauna.
That's my pule for everybody watching. Yeah, is when they eat their food, they picture the actual mahi ai making them. And just that thought to that person is like one prayer and one uplifting. And we have no idea how much struggles and tribulations our farmers go through.
Mhm.
We wonder why get more construction workers than farmers. It's because construction is a way easier job. Yeah,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
beef way less. Yeah, you drink way more. Your paycheck way more consistent. But we have to decide: are we a people so concentrated with earning and making money that we would lay down the future of our children? We would pave it over. We would drink the last drop of wine. We would consume the last fish. You
Mhm.
know, are we destined to be a culture of construction workers? Yeah, would that be our culture in the future?
Mhm.
You know, are we destined to become
Mm.
football player watchers? You know, is that our destiny? And if that's not our destiny, then our actions, you know,
Mhm.
our actions. I will tell you, in just Sunday alone, my
Mhm.
partner was an all-star quarterback mid-pack. He don't watch football now. He traded in the football for the OO
Mm.
and the malo.
Right.
Yeah, he took off his pads. He went strapped the malo.
Wow.
Good. And you know what is funny? On Sundays, he drink beer Sundays. So he found Tara and he drink beer. A lot of guys, they're like, oh, I gotta drink beer on Sunday. Bro, this guy is hardcore. He goes 6 days a week, smash it. Sundays, go to the Aina, have a great day on the Aina. Make it an enjoyable day on the Aina, right?
Mm.
Like that's the other
Right.
part. Aloha Aina. When you live it is an awesome thing. It's not a terrible thing. Pulling weeds is not bad.
Oh
You
Mhm.
should
no.
have a strategy. So you're not always pulling weeds. You know, if the weeds is winning, well, that's terrible. You know what I mean? You know, have strategy. And you know, these thoughts that we have about hard work, we should be proud of working hard,
Mhm.
of being able to
Yeah.
work hard. Yeah, we should be
Mhm.
proud. proud to work hard, proud to see our children work hard, proud to see them sweat and toil under a beautiful sun in a beautiful wind with feet deep in the lepo. Proud. We should be just as proud of that as watching them catch a wave and surf. Now, just as proud, because they are intertwined and connected.
Right. They're feeding their now.
I will say, apologize to anyone out there if I may have offended you and my honesty. It is only my honesty and my perspective, and it is not always the universal one. You know, I'm born in year of the horse, and I get blinders. So, you know, sometimes I gotta take my blinders off to see the full 180, 360-degree perspective. But that is what my ohana provides for me. Yeah, they hold the reins, and they help to channel my energy into a way that is positive and focused. You know, I get 6 beautiful kids, a beautiful wife. My dad is around. I get 2 grandfathers still going. I get aunties and uncles and cousins. And, you know, we work on one thing, always communication. They seem like the thing that no matter how much love you get, you can always say you love again. Yeah. And communicate appreciation, to be humble. Every day I learn a little bit more to enjoy my piece of humble pie. Yeah, and it's not easy, but we gotta eat them. If we're gonna do, we gotta be willing for eat whatever the outcome of the outcome is, and that's important because that means we're all in.
Right.
Yeah, and as we move forward, I believe that more ohanas are going to transition to the all-in situation. I see them. I've been privy to seeing Hawaiians quit their job to return back to the Aina. I see ohanas break away to make it a priority. Start with one huli, now they get patches. Yeah, and so it's a process and a progress, and don't be shy if it take you 10 years. You know, some might pound 10,000 pounds in 1 year. Some guys might pound 10,000 pounds in 10 years. But it's the consistency that gonna teach you the lesson. Because the lesson is in the doing. But you gotta do them, and you gotta do them and do them and do them and do them and do them to the point where you can catch the lesson.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If your eyes closed when you're praying, well, then you never see the whole Ilona. You wasn't paying attention. No? So it's like, we cannot just do them. We got to do them and pay attention. Yeah.
Right.
We know how to multitask. We born that way. We raised that way. Yeah.
Exactly, Auntie. The capacity and capability of the Kanaka is limitless. Yeah. And it is our own selves that create our own limits. Yeah.
That's right.
And the internal battle, yeah, Auntie, will always be greater than the external one. Yeah. And it's not that it's not easy. It's a conscious way to live where, you know, if you're not conscious and you're not paying attention, it can be terrible. And so you're always working on that consciousness, and you're always improving and moving forward, never behind. And you know, it's one of those things that sometimes just the road a little bit more bumpy than the previous day, but it wasn't one sign for give up.
Right.
Yeah. And that's where I'm, Auntie. I'm not giving up. We just buckling in. We planned this year to give out probably another 20,000 huli by the end of the year.
Wow.
We have a big Earth Day ulu kahunua that we're working on. There's 20,000 ulu trees available, tissue cultured ulu trees.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Trying to create fundraisers in our community for organizations to raise funds by creating food security in the community.
Right.
We already ordered our first 1,000 trees and got about half of them distributed in the community. And we've been ordering and sending boxes of trees all over the place. If anybody's interested, reach out to us. What we're hoping for, Auntie, is a steady growth. Let's grow together. Yeah. We plant the taro, we're going to grow together for 7 months to a year. If we plant the ulu, we have 3 to 7 years of growth together.
Mhm.
If we can track our own trials and tribulations through the beautifulness of social media and inspire and encourage more people to just stay just keep watering them. You
Mhm.
know, we can teach each other through this platform on how to be better caretakers. Yeah, because it's not, if you never know them, then how you gonna know them? If you never got taught them, how you gonna know them, right?
Right.
You know, listen to you now, then it's hard for learn them by yourself.
Right.
Mhm.
So in this time of technology, you know, can we harness it to
Mhm.
really put a spotlight on
Mhm.
nurturing our mahi and really, you know, um, this year we're gonna have food problems. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you was
Mhm.
talking about me, but I'm talking about the world now. The thing that
Right.
Mhm.
happened in Texas,
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
farms would fail, all the kind of major catastrophe, right? Like we
Mhm.
in this little swish of energy that is
Mhm.
coming through, and it's like it is time to prepare. It has
Yeah.
already been. It's
It's
not too
already
late.
it's
It's not
beginning
too late.
already. That
It already
polio is
started.
changing, yeah. It's
Mhm.
changing already. Yeah,
Mhm.
the global food security is in serious situation, you know, and if the more you look into it, the more the more scary it is.
I think that's the truth. The more you look into it, you find out they get plenty pukas, right?
Oh
It's not
yeah,
just the food. It's the fact that China ramped up to make PPE, protective gear, and stop manufacturing the plastic that your food goes in.
right,
Mhm.
And it
Correct.
takes 1 whole year for the thing from when they make the plastic in China to the thing hit the manufacturer to put your food in to send them to you. That take about a year and a half. So
Right.
right,
just hitting the 1 year at COVID, we're gonna find out that the order that they made last year, the thing not gonna come in this year.
Yeah.
right,
And now they're gonna have the peach, but they're not gonna have the can. And so it's not about the ship not coming. The ship gonna come, but what if no one nothing on the ship?
right. Not to mention the VI issues that our Honua is facing. You know,
Mhm.
that's the ones that even the more you look, the more scary it is. Yeah, and that's why it's so critical. We have opportunities here,
It's major,
especially
and it's
we
not
have,
the
yeah, we have
business opportunity. Yeah, it is. There is some business, but it's security of a future.
right, like you said, our Kiki. What are we gonna be? You know, what are we gonna do? And are they gonna have the same food opportunities and access we have? They're not. The whole world not. You know, it's
If
changing.
if our babies only have the selection of Costco, then they slaves to the Costco.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you know when get one natural catastrophe, one hurricane, we should be panicking and going and helping our farmers, not getting in the line of Costco. But
That's
it's that
right.
disconnect where we think that our sustenance and our sustainability comes from Costco. In
Right.
fact, I tell you what, I'm gonna have a new product. Made me rich, sister. I'm gonna sell one box at Costco. Just gonna say sustainability. So you can go buy your sustainability at Costco and take them home, and now you're sustainable. You know what I'm saying? Just
Right.
No, for real though. And
that's
you know, we have plenty. I'm over here and we in Puna. Yeah. So you know, I lived my entire life here in Pahua. And it's so funny, you know, from 2018, the things that still never get eruption recovery monies and stuff are Lavaita and our Mahi. You know what did get the recovery monies? Roads, this and that. But our Lavaita and our Mahi, struggling still yet. Never got covered. You know, and it's what you say, just a thing in my head, you know, look what the recovery wasn't our security. The security was never recovered yet. And so we was back to back. Yeah, 2014 lava, 20 then had the hurricane, then 2018 lava, then we went hit COVID. We might to crisis already, you know, that's part of who we are over here. But it really is that though. The what is security? Is ulu trees,
these ulu trees.
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know, it really is. It's our ulu. That's how we're gonna make it.
So simple. Yeah, but it's something also so difficult to grasp.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the challenge that we really live in. Yeah, is it so simple it seems unnatural. In our complex world, the simple act of returning to the aina is something that we don't make time for, therefore we don't have time for. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
Right.
what COVID did was COVID made time for us. So
Right.
there are people in COVID, I mean, giving away 10,000 huli on opening day at the Capitol wasn't enough. The last 20 cars that came only took High Hawaii, never have huli.
Oh.
Yeah, and it
Oh,
made
but
me
that's mean
realize
though, because the desire was there.
the
So even
demand.
though you never have enough, was still an excellent sign, right? Like the interest was there.
Yeah, may have been the single largest increase in small taro farmers in at least my lifetime, 40
Oh
years.
yeah. You know,
One,
my colleague them, they have a small patch in Paneva, and them that first few weeks they were in hooky, everything hooky. We had planning huli, yeah. Some post Facebook Marketplace. We sold 1,500 huli in a matter of 3 days.
major.
1,500, and that was just like us few, like three of us delivering just here and there, around this area, Puna and Hilo. 1,500 huli, la that was gone. We
It,
never
it,
have
it,
enough. The
it's
calls
not
kept
gonna stop.
coming.
It's not gonna stop.
Yeah,
And
was
this
mean
is
though.
where, as farmers, if we notice that we got to keep planting,
Right.
which means that we got to support these guys for keep planting. It's so important the right now. I can't even stress the urgency in the message to support mahi ai. You know, I they really are. Our mahi ai are they're older, yeah. The ones with the
Mm-hmm.
knowledge need to transition from farmers, yeah, to teachers.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all the farmers that older than 70, they need to have 20 young farmers under 50 under their belt. And when we take away all the 70-year-old farmers, that's a huge part of that. As more than half of the actual farmers, probably 3/4 of the farmers is 70 years,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
especially in taro farming.
right.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
these buggers farm till they die, which also
Right.
means this is important to keep in mind, which means that if your family doesn't have more land and you the farmer, then there's no space for your children to begin to develop their farms.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, and so like the taro farmer live long time, but that also means that his kids no more get the chance to take them over. But the kids is all badass, 40 years old, they would do them, but we need to support the farmers. We
Mm-hmm.
Right.
need to figure out how to get them more land and more water and more support because they have at least one, if not two generations that's been stagnant because zero capability to expand.
Mm-hmm.
I know I
Yeah.
throw a lot of stuffs out there at you guys, and I appreciate you reaching out, and I do enjoy um sharing about what we do, but I
Mm-hmm.
hope that yeah, I love when we do stuff and then stuff keep getting done. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that hard to contact. 2021 is kind of a no new friends year, but we um, always have the right capacity for the right projects. Yeah, and the right projects are with the simplest people who doing them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So any farmers on Moko Kiave that's serious that need huli, we don't at the moment we not harvesting a bunch, but we have some patches coming up when we probably have a few thousand in just the next month alone. Um, Throughout the
On
rest of
this
this year,
island, on
we can get
Moko
it to your
Kiabe?
island, Nancy. We get it to your island. I know that in the summertime we have some huge patches that are gonna be ready. We're gonna have another 15, 20,000 huli in this summer. So
Mm.
for those people that want to project planting in the summer, go to your aina. We get enough huli coming up this summer. 20 farmers that want 1,000 huli, contact us.
La
Mm.
hoi hoi ea. That could be the
You know
time.
what I'm saying? That's actually because exactly we
Yeah.
plan them. We plant based around our community activities. And now that we understand the need for the huli is growing we're gonna feed it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we
Right.
want people to anticipate it. Yeah, guess what? Just because no mahuli now, no stop you. Taro needs you to go and turn that lepo 3 months
Right.
ahead of time and clear it
Mhm.
and cover
Get
it. And there's lots of prep. Everybody like prep when they get the huli. Too late.
no, you
Yeah.
gotta start
Yep. Yep.
mulching
Yep.
now if you like
There's
them ready
plenty.
summertime, right?
There's plenty
Exactly.
prep time.
So that's, and if they miss the summer, then we're going to pull in November again and we're going to do opening day at the Capitol. And it's like, we not going to stop.
Right.
And if you know that we're not going to stop, well, maybe that's going to inspire you to get on your trip and clean your land and get your thing prepared. You know,
Right.
I guess the last thing I'll leave is we did get on small grant to do 10 Ohana gardens. And so if there's people on Oahu that are interested in starting an Ohana garden.
Now's your chance.
And yeah, we basically actually had a strange call from an auntie, from 77-year-old auntie in Princess Kahanu
Oh
Hawaiian Homestead. That
wow.
read one article, was interested in fertilizer. While I'm talking to her, I'm like, Auntie, I think you just should get one free garden. We're gonna come in and smash your place. No, Auntie, we coming. Because my partner, he lives in the same homestead. Yeah.
Mm.
And so it's like, did we just take these little signs on what we're supposed to do? And it feels
Mhm.
just, especially if you're in Kupuna. If you're a Kupuna on Oahu and you're struggling growing stuff and you have a little bit of land and you want to do a little home garden, please reach out to us. For
Mhm.
every Kupuna that, can plant 10 taros, that's no joke. That's like 10 extra laulaus a month if you're just growing for leaf.
Mhm.
And the calcium and the iron and the protein in the luau is so essential for kupuna health.
Mhm.
And that starts harvesting in 6 weeks.
Mm.
Hello.
The lau.
Mhm.
And we gotta start just eating. And don't worry, meeting we get food. Hey, put the lau on your rice. But project to become racist like me and get the rice out. But start it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta start someplace.
Right. Eat
Right.
poi.
Oh,
Oh, mahalo.
we're so grateful for
I
you
so
joining us
I
tonight.
so full. Well, maona.
Mahalo, Anake. Mahalo to
Ikaw
both of you.
olelo.
Really
Yeah.
enjoyable evening. And I'm grateful
Yes.
for the opportunity.
Really inspirational, Bai. Heavy on the inspiration. And you know, this is what it is. It's like you said, it's that time. It's our time. And it's that Huli is upon us. Yeah. On all the levels of Huli. It's the time. So we're so stoked and we're so grateful to you for all your work, from all the lessons you learned, the path that brought you to this point where you can be this force for all of us. It's really amazing. And it just goes to show, you just gotta just do it. You just gotta imua and do it, and look what can happen 10,000 pounds later, right? And then you ready. It's really awesome. Mahalo nui for sharing with us.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. I'm gonna be watching every Monday now.
All right. Well, next week Monday. So next week Monday we have Helani Pale is gonna be with us. And so
Fire.
we're really looking forward to that. Everybody, next week we have Helani with us. So it'll be a great show. Especially keep us updated about her journey and her work in the legislative, especially in the ledge. She's one of my
This year.
models,
Mhm.
So awesome. So thank you so much for joining us and for another great show. We're really grateful.
Thanks, you guys.
Ahoy ho.
Good night. Ahui ho. Aloha.